As consumer preferences and the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This transition has no impact on games that are already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in disc format. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as a general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation in how players can access games and provide choices as to where players prefer to purchase new games, whether that's at retailers or PlayStation Store. We remain committed to delivering a world-class gaming experience to our fans, and we thank you for your continued support. That's the news that's happening with Sony right now. Basically, putting a fork in owning physical games for any PlayStation product going forward, starting in January 2028. I'm not a fan of that, obviously. I mean, you can see behind me, I like physical media. I like to collect things. I like to own something I actually purchase. And I realize that that might be a little bit ironic for someone who specializes in featuring eShop video games on Nintendo. But if I have a choice, I'm going to prefer a physical copy of a game. And for Sony to just kind of come out today and not even really with a warning, this was just kind of released into the wild on the PlayStation blog, to release this into the wild without any warning, without any kind of heads up. I mean, and granted, yes, there were market trends that indicated this. If you have paid attention to the industry at all, you knew this was coming. We've all known this was coming, despite our better judgments and despite the fact that we didn't want it to happen. We knew it was going to, if you've been paying attention. And we're at a point right now where I don't think that's going to change anything. We can yell, we can scream, we can cry, we can be upset. That's not going to alter anything that Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony are going to do. So what do we do? Do we just roll over and accept it? I don't really know, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way to go about this. If you're okay with this and you're okay owning digital games, then business as usual for you, nothing changes. But if you're a physical collector, then you really need to reprioritize where things are going. Now, I think Microsoft and Sony are definitely the ones that are kind of leading the charge on this, because if you look at Nintendo, while yes, there are game key cards and there are digital downloads and digital pack-ins where you only get a code in a box, that's not necessarily the rule. That tends to be the exception. Nintendo does tend to put out something physical, even if that is a game key card, and I understand a lot of people don't like those. I personally look at it kind of like how Microsoft and Sony have been doing their discs for a bunch of years now, but I completely understand if you don't care for that. But it seems to me that Nintendo has an opportunity to do something really unexpected and completely embrace physical media and be the only presence in retail with a physical object to purchase. Now, this is still a couple of years away. This is still something that we're a year and a half out from, really, at this point, where we're not going to see necessarily this impact what we're doing or what we're playing or how we're collecting or what we're experiencing with Sony, but it does really make me reprioritize and really think about how I want to go about things and where I'm going to focus my collecting going forward. There are always going to be Sony exclusives, just like there are theoretically always going to be Microsoft exclusives, even though I can't think of the last one that came out. And there's always going to be Nintendo exclusives, and those are typically the reasons that you own a console, right? Like you want those exclusives because typically multi-platform stuff, you're going to find the best way to play it and you're going to purchase it for that console, whichever one is your most comfortable place to play. And as much as I have enjoyed my PlayStation 5, and I've been playing it really frequently lately, I've been playing a lot of the James Bond, the 007 First Light game that just recently released, I don't really see myself focusing heavily on PlayStation products going forward. At least not modern ones. I think I'll probably be focusing more on the retro stuff and buying stuff for my older PlayStation consoles that actually have a physical disc that I can play the game right off the bat. It sucks, right? Like it's a shift in how we do things. It's a shift in how the game industry works and operates, and it's a shift that, while we don't like it, we all knew it was coming. And to say otherwise is I think, being dishonest to yourself and kind of being dishonest to the hobby we support. We've all known this was going to happen. They've as much as told us that. When we started getting our digital storefronts shut down and losing access to things that we owned, yeah, that was the writing was on the wall at that point, folks. And sadly, I think the writing is no longer on the wall. I mean, it's on a block. Like it's right there for us to digest and read and have to accept. And I don't mean that we have to accept and just roll over and just be like, oh, well, that's what Sony says, so that's what we're going to go with now, because I don't think that's the case. I think you vote with your wallet and you determine where you want to play the games at. And you determine how you want to play those games. If physical is the only way for you, then you're probably going to be moving away from PlayStation and Microsoft's consoles and focusing more on Nintendo. If it doesn't matter, then feel free to keep doing what you're doing. But for me, I think this is the end of the era, right? Like this is, for a hobby that I've been following now for, 40 years of my life, this is the first real major shift where it's no longer a hobby of being able to own the thing that you're collecting and you're playing. It's now just data that can be taken away from you at any time. And I don't like that. I really don't. Sony also recently did this with a bunch of movies on their store where they completely removed your access to them, even though you paid for them, even though you owned them. Again, like, this is ownership becomes a big question mark now. What does ownership mean? Do you actually own the product you purchased? And that's a really tough question to answer. I mean, like morally, yes, you own the product you purchased, but when you have companies that are so affluent and so wealthy that they're able to just kind of write their own check and determine where they're going to go with things and how they're going to go about things, and there's nary a studio or nary a governing body that's going to say anything about it because they don't care, they're getting paid, we're, as consumers, we're kind of screwed. That sucks. For now, I'm going to continue to enjoy the games I have. There's some games coming out for the PlayStation 5 that I really want to play, like the new Wolverine game coming out this year. I'll be buying that on disc if it's an option. But when you start looking at things that are coming out, like GTA 6 not having a physical version, it's not going to be on disc, it's going to be download only. I think that was really the first shoe to drop, and probably our first indication that this was coming, because, yeah, it's the end of an era. I don't really know where I'm going with this, and I don't really know why I'm doing this, but I'm hoping to be able to do more content for you guys like this, just kind of off-the-cuff stuff where I'm talking to you about things that are happening in the industry and kind of news that's coming out. And this is a big one because this impacts all of us, right? It's something where if you're a modern gamer, chances are, like if you started on something like the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, if those are your first consoles, or you're just so tied into that digital format and not owning a physical game, this is nothing to you. This is a complete overthought, and people like me are overreacting. But if you're someone who has been playing in the industry for a long time and collecting in the industry for a long time, this is hard to swallow. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? I'm pretty sure I know where most of you are going to go with this, but I'd love to hear from you. If you have a differing opinion than folks, only thing I'm going to ask, keep it respectful. Let me know how this alters the way you're going to be collecting going forward. What consoles are you going to be purchasing for? Are you going to continue purchasing games and playing games? Love to know. Till next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending some time with me today. Remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.